Hi, everybody. Me again. We're continuing on this path of discussing nutrition for our pets. And I, again, am trying to keep it in little short snippets of information so that it can be watched in pieces and parts as you have time. So next up is for us to chat a little bit about Kibble. It is, without question, the most commonly used source of feeding for our pets. And until a few years ago, it's what I used. Dog food was not people food. Dog food was not prepared in the kitchen. It came out of a bag. And how we all got into that dates back to early war times when they were taking dogs out into the field and they needed a way to transport food with them for the animals that wasn't terribly heavy, so cans weren't an option. They couldn't cool food or freeze food, so they couldn't take things with them. So this kibble source was developed. What I want you to start doing is, no matter what your budget is, learn as much as you can, and from there make the decisions you need to make to try and begin the process of improving the quality of your pet's diet. Even if it's baby steps that move you forward, start to do that. That starts with reading the label. So if you'll pull out your bag of dog food and look on the label, you will see something called guaranteed analysis. There are 4 primary categories that you need to look at. It is the crude protein, fiber, moisture, and fat. Add those 4 percentages up and subtract that number from 100%. Anything that difference, that calculated difference, is carbohydrate, right? It is carbohydrate, which translates to sugar in the body, which translates to inflammation in the body, which translates to dis-ease in the body over time, right? Some dogs, just like some people, can smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol and live to 112. Some dogs have the genetic capacity to do that. But we are seeing our pets wind up with disease, serious disease that is taking their lives at more and more younger ages and at higher and higher rates, right? This was alarming to me, was concerning to me as I was seeing my own pets die at a young age and watching my clients' pets decline at young ages and so on. And I'm like, there has to be something more to this. There has to be something to understand. So that percentage of starch in the bag will vary significantly by quality of product. So if you're in the mega retailer on the bottom shelf and you're paying, $12 for 30 pounds of food, there's probably nothing good in it. When you go into these boutique stores and you're getting top shelf product and you're paying $50 to $60 or more dollars a bag, you're certainly getting better quality food. Those higher ends of kibble won't have dyes in them. There will be less sugar in them. There will be a better balance of nutrient and vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it is still highly processed food with added back fat that will start to have more different types of starches in it. So they've eliminated the corns and all, right? But they are perhaps adding in more tapioca and more potato. Potato even can be something that incites inflammation and itchy, scratchy spots and whatnot, skin issues or eye issues or ear issues in our pets. Potatoes, right? But at the end of the day, the issue is that it's starch, that there are these things these sugars that are going into the body and helping the body not do what it's supposed to do, right? So again, you've heard me say before, we can work on cleanses. We can help the body sort of take itself back to balance with nutritional cleanses, essential oil things that help clear receptor sites, help move blockages, if you will. And you're saying, my dog's not blocked up. He's not constipated. He's peeing, he's pooping, he's doing all those things. That's not the kind of blockage that I'm talking about. I'm talking about blockages that allow him to absorb nutrient, that allow him to process foods in his digestive system so that his body actually burns the nutrients in an efficient way. So you must learn to read the label. What we're seeing in many marketers is they're getting sneaky and smart. And they're putting that first ingredient as some lovely protein source, some animal protein source. And then you might move into the next 3 or 4 ingredients on the list and identify them as some other type of protein, which in many cases can be the pieces and parts stuff again, right? So it's like, it's the leftovers of things that they're using for other products that they've manufactured. It might be plant protein rather than animal protein. And when you start adding up these other ingredients that make up the protein source, the meat is not the highest percentage of protein. These other things are. And then you may also see that they're adding in starches. Again, you might see a lot of peas, a lot of lentils, a lot of potatoes, and start to see, that going in as either protein or as, filling up the rest of the ingredient list with cheaper ingredients that are causing problems. Right? So you've got to read the whole label. You got to read the whole thing and go on their website and start to do a little more calculation. The other thing that I want you to pay attention to, and this was new for me in the last year, is that when you see salt listed on the ingredient list, SALT, like the salt and pepper, when you see salt, the governing bodies of nutrition for our animal dog foods say that there can be up to 1%, no more, but 1% salt in the bag. That's the max that could be there. So when you see salt on the label, anything listed after it will have less than 1% of that in the bag. So this is now, you're starting to see things show up in that category like cranberry or pumpkin or blueberries, or we saw sweet potatoes last night in one of the ones that we looked at. So we think there's quality in the bag. We think they're getting fruits and vegetables, but there's such a minuscule amount that it's not adding any nutritional value. So I get it. Many people are not ready to make the transition to these home cooked diets where you have to make your calculations and work on the balance yourself. It is the reason why many people are also not ready to go full raw. They're scared of it. So my goal is to help teach you to not be afraid of that, to trust that there is significant benefit to doing so, and that it does not have to break the budget, right? When I did the calculations about moving myself into the Volhard dog food for 3 dogs, even though 2 of them are small, it wound up being just a little bit more per month for me to feed them than to continue on the path I was on. For those of you struggling with wellness issues or skin issues or joint issues or even behavioral issues, the cost of making the changes to better food will in every case outweigh the cost of making the transition, in the budget every single time. I see people actually now saving money because they are reducing the medications and the prescription shampoos and all of this that their pets are on, right? So there are options to make much better choice that will lead to significant improvement for your pet. I'll leave with this as we think about food as well, kibble food. Many of our pets are on prescription diets of some sort, right? Read those labels. Call the manufacturers. Pick up the phone and call the manufacturers and start to understand that those diets are not designed to be long-term diets. They are not designed to be fed during for the life of your pet. They are extremely restrictive in their ingredients so that we address certain ailments or issues in the body, but they may be causing other nutrient deficiency or other problems because we're on such a restriction to them. I used to think that prescription diets meant there was some sort of prescription built into the food, like a medication built into the food. And that's really not the case, right? It is really about trying to create a nutritional combination of things that make the symptoms that the pet has not as significant. And this is my interpretation of this, right? So what would ideally be better is to use food and nutrition that fuels the body to help support itself, to add in the right supplements, to add in the right essential oils and things that help the body work its best, rather than restricting things that create problems. Does that make sense? So fuel the body with nutrient-rich things that allow the body to work efficiently, rather than restricting the body from the nutrients that make some problem. Does that make sense? So anyway, stay tuned. We're going to talk about canned food and those tubes of food, and I'll see you in the next video.